I'm Jenna Wolf. That is the Hall of Famer Chris Carter. That is Nick Wright. We have a great show for you this morning. 3 hours of a great show. Can Drew Brees and the Saints offense carry their struggling defense? Can the Vikings defense slow down the Rams on Thursday Night Football? And who isn't worried about the Cowboys' slow start? Those are the questions. Here are all the answers. There is no finger pointing in Dallas these days. No subtle hints at who is to blame for a disappointing start to the Cowboys season. With an offense that ranks second to last in points per game, a quarterback that has yet to throw for 200 yards, and a usually stout offensive line has already given up 11 sacks. The Cowboys offense is the culprit. But if you ask Owner Jones, it's not time to hit the panic button just yet.
I think we've seen Dak really compete and do well with what we want him to do in areas that Dak can play better in. We've seen him perform those things and do it well. And we've seen him do it this year. But we've just got to get together.
Kind of a loaded question. How now turn the season out? What is the biggest key for them to do that?
Well, based on Jerry's comment and everything, and very few owners you're going to see are going to manage like Jerry Jones does. And Jerry's been successful. His business life, he just hadn't been successful at football in a long, long time. But a lot of times when you have early career success, young athletes, young people, entrepreneurs, it's hard to sometimes realize that because you've been so successful or in very, very little of experience, you take it for granted. And what Jerry has done the last 25 years, he's taken it for granted. Dak Prescott is not the type of quarterback that right now is going to be able to win the championship in the NFL. There are too many good throwers of the football. Now, Jerry, he keeps making these excuses because he said Dak is doing exactly what we want him to do, right?
Yep.
So the reason why they don't have any big plays was because Dallas has told Dak, we don't want no big plays. All right, we got one long completion to a scat back, a change of pace guy in Austin. None of our wide receivers, we can get them open down the field. So I don't like where Jerry is, and I don't like him making excuses week after week about the Dallas offense or lack of offense and their quarterback. If he was the owner like Troy Aikman, he'd be like, man, where are the big plays? Because when they won Super Bowl trophies, that's what they had. They had a very good defense that was underrated, but they grinded out with big plays through the pass. That's what Dallas used to. Jerry's not doing that anymore. They're not forcing Dak to do that. So they're playing a game that's very, very easy for the defense. All we have to do is limit Zeke, not keep him away, limit Zeke and make else beat him. Dallas doesn't have one, not a tight end, not a wide receiver that would put any type of threat in the NFL defense. So it's going to be tough sled. And if Jerry can keep the bar very low as quarterback in Dak, I believe that their achievement as a team will be very, very low.
And Scott and the offensive staff is not doing this team any favors with that. Not only the types of plays they're calling, which is what Chris is talking about, where they're not even trying deep shots down the field, but the ratio of plays they're calling. Since Dak and Zeke came into the league, games that matters throughout the Week 7 game dating about in 2016, Dak has 20 or fewer attempts, or 10-0. In every other game, they're 13-11. So, like, we know what the numbers say.
So that's the model.
That's the model. Flip it to the other side. When they have as many rushing plays as passing plays or greater, more rushing plays than passing plays, they're 16-0. Otherwise, they're 7-13. Now, I understand sometimes that is you already have a lead, so you're running it late to salt away the game. Some of that is misleading, but a lot of that is they got the lead by Zeke being dominant. This year, I couldn't believe this stat. Dusty showed this to me this morning. The Cowboys are number 1 in the league this year on yards per carry before contact. So before you have to break a tackle, before you have to have any special type of running back's ability, they're first in the league. And yet they are middle of the pack to below average in number of rushing attempts. That makes no sense. I get why Pittsburgh right now is basically saying, we're just going to throw the football. Le'Veon Bell's not there. They have a dynamic passing attack. They have excellent weapons. I get why the Chiefs would do that, why the Patriots would do that. It would be different reasons for each of those teams, but I understand it. The fact that Cowboys are giving Zeke the ball 16 times per game is absurd. And what it is, when you combine that with no deep shots, they are relying on what we talked about before the season, Jen, as being so hard. 12 play drives, 14 play drives.
Right.
And if you don't have Drew Brees out there, who is going to complete 75% of his passes,
yes,
and you're trying to just do 4 or 5 yards at a time, you're going to have an completion, you're going to have a pass. Now it's 3rd and 8, and shortly after you're punting.
Well, it's definitely a head scratch why Zeke hasn't gotten the ball more when clearly he's the bulk of their offense. They don't have anyone else for Dak to really throw the ball to, whether that's on him or whether it's on the receivers. But earlier before the season started, we talked about them changing or tweaking Zeke's role a little bit and using him more in the pass catching lane. Is that something that could help them out a little bit, just to ignite something, let him catch a few of the balls?
It is, but they're keying on Zeke so much. Like, I thought they would be able to throw the ball outside some. They are keying on Zeke in the running game, also in the passing game. You always have to have, if you have a running back like Zeke, like L. Bell would be, just like Todd Gurley is, like these running backs, you have to have them in the passing game. But back to Nick's point, as far as Dallas leads the NFL, also, as far as yards before contact, I bet they lead the NFL in 8-man boxes too. So it lets you know the offensive line's playing well.
Zeke is run blocking well.
Yeah, Zeke is doing his job as far as when he gets the attempts. It's everything else. It's the quarterback and the other guys that aren't supporting them. So, yes, you can continue. You have to throw the ball to Zeke. But everything, it's like when you start a meal. Like, you need a good piece of meat. If that being fish, chicken, beef, pork, whatever you're going to have.
Tofu, anything.
Whatever it is. Whatever is the main ingredient in tofu, let me tell you, that's who Zeke is. And you can't get away from that. But I'm going to steal a little point from you, Nick. You said their record's 10-0 when he throws the ball 25 times or less.
Exactly.
Okay, listen. I need 8 of those throws to go past 40 yards.
Well, that, by the way, would help Zeke's numbers in the passing game. Zeke can targeted more than anyone else in the Cowboys. He's been targeted 18 times. He has 11 catches. They only have 37 yards on those 11 catches, 3.5 yards per catch. Why? They're playing in a phone booth.
Yes.
If you're not sending your receivers deep, when can the running back catches be the most effective if they're not a Le'Veon Bell that's just going to line up as a receiver and run a route? It's when your receivers are going deep down the field, clearing out the defense, then those swing passes or screen passes, there's open space. When everyone is running these button hooks and crossing routes, when you throw it to Zeke, he's got 4 defenders already around him. So that is, your point, take some shots.
Yes.
Take some, and in today's league, with the pass interference penalties, with the
roughing the passer, the quarterback holds the ball a little bit more. He's protected with the pass interference. A lot of good things happen. I need 2 deep shots. That's why the number's 8, Nick. I need 2 per quarter. Because if you throw only 4 deep balls in a game, the NFL is not going to take you serious. Right now, they're not taking Dak and the passing attack of the Cowboys serious, so it makes it harder. But from a design standpoint, I don't even believe that they start the game with the right design to win. The Cowboys do not know how to win with this team that they have. Because Zeke should touch the ball 25 times. He should have at least 20 rushes a game. And you have to be able to take some deep shots because that would help out that really good defense that they have.
Well, we'll see what Jason Garrett does with Zeke in that offense. The Cowboys host the Detroit Lions coming up this weekend. On the other side here, will the New Orleans Saints defense derail their season? That's next on First Things First.
I just checked it out. They have Walt Coleman as the official in that.